Hi there, Heroes to Hives friends. Dr. Adam with this month's Dr. Adam's Beekeeping Book Review video. This month we are going to be talking about The Mind of a Bee by Lars Chittka. This book became on my radar through a recommendation from Jeff Pettis, who is the president of Apimondia and a researcher here in the United States. And one of the things that I just absolutely loved when I heard Jeff talking about this book was the approachability to it. And so I picked this book up a few months back and just blew through it. So let's talk a little bit about this particular book. So let's just start with some of just the basics, right? So one of the things I really love about the book is the size of the book, meaning the actual format of it. This has made this book really easy to travel with. I do a lot of traveling when it comes to beekeeping, and being able to just throw a book in your bag that's this size, really, really nice thing to be able to do. So I was able to travel around with this book and really digest it in pieces, which I really loved. Now, one of the things that I'll bring up about this particular book is that this book is not going to be for everybody. This is a book that is really focused on the neuroscience of honeybees and bees in general. The book does explore all kinds of bees, not just honeybees. There is a focus, I would say, on honeybees and bumblebees, but it is a broad book, and it does bring in a lot of research from other bee species. But what I will say is that this particular book, in my opinion, is one of the most comprehensive books to date on the neuroscience of honeybees in a digestible format, meaning that it's not a textbook that you're going to have to really slog through and is really meant for instruction and things like this. This is a book that you can pick up and you can read very easily. Now, if you've been beekeeping for a short amount of time, I'd say under 5 years, a lot of this is going to be over your head. You need to kind of get more of the fundamentals of honeybees under your belt before really breaking into the neuroscience of bees. Now, not to say that anybody can't take anything from this. Again, it's a very approachable book. The way it is written is it's not written for, a researcher. It's written for the general public, which is, I think, one of the best aspects about this book. Lars did an amazing job of making a very complex, and I mean, the whole book, it covers extremely complex ideas and concepts into a very digestible form for pretty much any reader. So let's talk about some of the other things that I really liked about this. One of the things I did really like about this, one, is how the chapters are sectioned. So being that the chapters are sectioned makes this book very easy to pick up, read a section of a chapter, and then put it down and come back to it at a later time. So it's not something that you have to blow through immediately. Granted, if you were as excited about the reading as I was, I blew through this book because it was one of those types of books that I couldn't put down. As someone who works in bees professionally, works in the research realm and the outreach realm, this really spoke to me and really just did an amazing job of filling even knowledge gaps that I had in some of these areas. The other thing that I really loved is that this is a modern book. This was published in 2023, and Lars did an amazing job of basically doing a literature review of the current knowledge in neurobiology around bees and behavior, and really did an incredible job of integrating the most recent research into a digestible format. So not only does he discuss the research by researchers' names, referring to individuals and the works that they have done, but also includes figures from research that are relevant to the concepts that he's trying to get through to the reader. Just an amazing book. I really, when it comes to beekeeping books, there's several books that I really always look to. This is one of those books that I will continue to refer people to from here on out. Like I said, it's a new book. 2023 was the publication date, but this is something I will continue to refer people to. It is just that good. The other thing that I really loved about the book is the transitions from chapter to chapter. I really loved how he gave kind of a summary at every single chapter to kind of bring you up to speed of what you just read and then prepare you for what he's going to be delivering in the next chapter. Additionally, the thing that I really loved was the wrap-up of this. The last chapter in this book is on consciousness. And the idea, are bees conscious beings? And It's something that a lot of times as entomologists, as people who work with bees, we don't think about the consciousness of organisms out in the landscape. But Lars makes an incredible assessment of the research that's led up to that. I mean, the entire book leads up to this chapter and really makes a compelling argument for the consciousness of honeybees. And it's something that I totally believe in and really loved seeing in this book. Now, as far as how I would rate this particular book, I mean, I would give this a 4 out of 4, 4 stars, hands down. This is a fantastic book. But again, it's not for everybody. This is going to be for those of you who have a little more experience in beekeeping and are really looking to do a deep dive on understanding these behaviors and the neurobiology behind bees. And the neuroscience of bees is absolutely fascinating. Honeybees, insects of the order Hymenoptera in general are considered the most sophisticated of all insects. They're, are social insects primarily. They have all of these amazing social interactions with one another and how, they work within a superorganism, and that's how all of these individuals work to support the superorganism. And Lars has done an amazing job of showing how that happens through all of these different chapters leading up to this idea that these bees are conscious beings. I just absolutely loved this book. Great figures as well. Like I had mentioned, a lot of these figures that he has in the book are pulled from current research. And so not only do you get the layout of what these findings are in these particular research studies, but you also get to see the figures that support those findings. So again, another great thing. The other thing that I'll mention about this is a very affordable book. Before I jumped on this recording, I looked up to see what the current prices are. You can find this book for as little as $10, and I think it tops out at about $20. So it's a really affordable book, which also is a really great thing for any of us that are working in bees. That things are expensive, and knowledge that is that inexpensive, boy, that's something that we all should be celebrating. So, in my opinion, if you are one of those individuals that is fascinated by honeybees and really wants to get into the neuroscience and understand bees at a deeper level, this is a fantastic book to have on your bookshelf. It is a very approachable book. It is a reference book, but this is a book that you can sit down and read cover to cover, no problem whatsoever, because it is that captivating and it's that well written. Oftentimes, especially in academia, when we deal with books that researchers are writing, oftentimes, the technical jargon is so heavy that a lot of people just can't approach it. That is not the case with this. This is a fantastically written book for any reader. But again, you're going to need to have a good baseline of understanding of honeybees in order to really extract the maximum amount of information out of this particular book. Fantastic book. I think anybody who has been doing bees for any number of years needs to read this and get a better understanding of what exactly is going on in the minds of your bees. Thanks for joining me this month. Next month, what are we going to be reading? Well, this is a classic. The Sacred Bee by Hilda Ransom. If you're unfamiliar with this book, well, originally published in 1937, this is an amazing catalog of information about the history of honeybees, starting in ancient Egypt through ancient cultures. And although it is an old book, it really delves into a lot of the things that many of us don't understand when it comes to the history of honeybees and humans. And Ransom has done an amazing job of putting this book together and really cataloging a lot of information that, otherwise would have been lost in the 1930s about the research that had been done leading up to that and the understanding of how ancient civilizations have interacted with honeybees over time. I'll tell you up front, it's one of my favorite books, and I look forward to sharing that with you in the next month in our March Dr. Adams Beekeeping Book Review video. I hope you all enjoyed this, and I'll look forward to seeing you at the next one.